This call is being recorded.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
That's good. Is everyone present?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'd like to open this meeting in the name of Allah, who appeared and is in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Has everyone been, watching the Islamic videos on YouTube?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. And have you been saying your prayer daily?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Come on, let Daddy hear you say your prayer.
Surely I have shown myself being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not dishonested. Share my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death for all four lives of the Lord of the world. No associate has to get this on my command, and I am with those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God with thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my fault. So grant me protection against all my faults. For none grant protection against falsity, and guide me to the best of morals. For none guides to the best of them, but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals.
Okay, very good, Kamal. All right. Rafiq, let Daddy hear you say your prayer.
Truly I have turned myself, being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Truly my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this am I commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals with thee.
Very good, very good. Let's see. Daim, let Daddy hear you say your prayer, son.
Truly I have turned myself, being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Truly my prayer, my sacrifice, and my life, and my death are all for Allah, Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this am my command, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So get protection against all my faults, but none grant protection against faults with thee. Guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals but thee. Amen.
Okay, very good. Amaria, let Daddy hear you say your prayers.
Yes, sir. Surely I have turned myself, being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Truly my sacrifice, and my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world, and no one associate has he, and this I am my commanded. And I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my fault. So grant me protection against all my faults. When I grant protection against faults with thee, so guide me to the best of all. When none guides me to the best of them, or turns me away from the evil world.
Okay, very good. For today's Sunday school lesson, we're going to, further our discussions that of power, but we're going to deal with the subject of wisdom. Wisdom is the highest. How can I put this? The people around you or people in the world, we don't typically, in general, people don't put a very high value on wisdom. They value other things. They value materialistic things such as, cars or homes or, things that's more readily accessible, with the eye or with that are appreciated with the five senses. And wisdom basically is a mechanism by which you can obtain those things in any regard, as well as the spiritual things. So wisdom, if you value wisdom, you'll be able to obtain the things you want physically, as far as material wealth and also spiritual wealth, understanding of God and philosophy, and understanding of yourself and others. So wisdom is the principal thing, as it is written in the scripture. So we're going to talk about wisdom. So when we think about wisdom is a very it's something that you ought to really think about, because let's talk about what we see around us. And let's just go back to the very beginning of time. As we were taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, time, or the beginning, was approximately 76 trillion years ago. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what he taught us about the beginning, for what he got from Master Farad Muhammad, Allah in person, he basically told us in the beginning there basically was nothing, and it all started with an atom of life in the universe that sparked, and from that, that atom evolved, and and we have the self-creation of God, or the black man creating himself, and from the time of the creation of the black man, when the black man created himself, to the time that we created our sun that's in the sky that you see rise every day, was approximately 6 trillion years. So from the time we made ourselves, and from the time we made the sun, was 6 trillion years. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what happened was, our father, or the original black man, basically, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, at one time the earth was nothing but an atom itself. But that's another subject. But basically, the black man stood upon his earth, and he called his sun into existence. And so from the time the black man created himself, and from the time that the sun appeared in the sky, was 6 trillion years. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the question would come, well, how did he make the sun? Well, according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which we call the Supreme Wisdom, God, or that black man who was standing on his earth, he willed it. Meaning in his mind, he just spoke the word, or he just willed it with his mind. He didn't grab a shovel, a saw, a screwdriver, a hammer, and go out in space and start making a sun. He just thought it, and he just willed it. And approximately 6 trillion years, that sun appeared in the sky. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And also, actually, the rest of the stars in the sky, the stars that you see in the sky, are gods after that first God. They would stand on the earth, and they just looked out, and they said, there be a light. And they looked, and other gods looked in the other part of the sky and said, there be a light. And all these gods, all these black men that was here, they just looked out in the universe, and they just willed it. They just desired to have a light there. And after millions or billions or trillions of years, those stars came into existence, just like the first God did. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is even hinted to in the Bible that many Christians read, that we give regard. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, we wasn't given the clear situation. We were just given a hint. It just said that God said, let there be light, and there was light. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, that's true, but the reality of it, or the wholeness of it is, is that, a man that looks like you, that looks like your brother that's sitting there, was standing here on this planet and willed that sun and willed those stars in the sky with his mind. He just thought about it, and he willed it and wanted it. And he went away, died, but his will continued. And many, many years, or eons later, his will came into fruition. His will became manifested. And we see the sun and the stars we have in the sky today. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, but what was this? How are you able to just will it? This is because of wisdom. The black man, wisdom. He has the wisdom to do it. Those original gods had wisdom, and they had know-how. They just knew, and they willed it, and those things just appeared. These are powerful gods. They just thought it and willed it, but they were able to do this by what we call wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Wisdom is power, and power is wisdom. We are the gods of wisdom. And that's why when Master Farad Muhammad came, he brought us the supreme wisdom, or he brought us the knowledge of ourselves. That wisdom is us, and we are the wisdom. We are just being brought back into our wisdom, or back into our power. And we are going to become, again, like those first gods, like that original, most powerful God. We're just going to be able to think it, and it's just going to happen. Now, many people that may hear this kind of teaching, they may think, well, on the one hand, they don't have a problem believing what they read in Genesis about God saying, let there be light and there was light. Okay, they say they believe that, but when we tell them that, that was a man that did that. They can't wrap their minds around that God is man. But anyway, the point I'm making to you all is the way that the black man, the way that we do things, the way that we create the universe, we just did it by the will of our mind, or our use of wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now get your Bible and turn to the 8th chapter of Proverbs in the Old Testament near the book of Psalms. Let me know when you have it.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
906. You got it? I can't see that. Do you have it? We got that.
Okay, everyone has chapter 8 of the book of Proverbs?
Yes, sir.
All right. What we're going to do now is we are going to go to the 8th verse. We're going to go to 8 and 8, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to start reading. Verse 8. Starting at verse 8. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing forward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. Now, the book of Proverbs, as given in the Bible, is credited as to have been written or given or spoken by King Solomon. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so King Solomon is admonishing us to receive his instruction and not silver, and rather than choice gold. So I'll continue reading. Verse 11 reads, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Now, remember what I said. How did the original God and the gods after him create the universe? How did they do it?
He willed it, thought it.
And they willed it, but when they willed and thought it, what did they use to bring it about?
Wisdom.
So anything that they desired, they use wisdom to get it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when we go back and we read the 8th chapter and the 11th verse, it says, "For wisdom is better than rubies, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it." That makes sense, don't it? Because everything that was desired, you got it through the use of wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So there's no if the heavens and the earth was created by the black man or the God using wisdom to just bring it into existence, if he used his mind to call the sun into existence, if he used his mind to call the earth and the planets and the stars and the things that are in them into existence by use of wisdom, then we don't equate or compare, the product that was made by wisdom to wisdom itself. Which is more important, that which you created by the use of wisdom, or wisdom itself? Which is more important?
Wisdom itself.
Wisdom itself. So the 11th verse says, "For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it." that just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's continue. Now, here Solomon is going to talk about wisdom. He's going to personify wisdom. What Solomon is going to do in the next verses, he's going to, because we know wisdom is basically knowledge and understanding and good judgment. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what Solomon is going to do in these next verses, he's going to personify wisdom. He's going to talk. If wisdom could talk, wisdom itself could talk, this is what wisdom would be telling you. Okay. So when we go to the 12th verse, Solomon speaking here for wisdom. "I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions." Now, when it says "I, wisdom, dwell with prudence," when you dwell somewhere, what does it mean to dwell? What does that mean? Anyone?
Well,
To dwell. You say if you dwell somewhere, what does it mean? If you tell somebody you are dwelling at something, the act of dwelling, what does that mean, to dwell?
Create or like hold it.
What you say? Come on.
It says like if you create something and it's yours, probably.
To dwell is where you live, your surrounding. Do you understand? Like right now, you are dwelling in your home in Opelousas. That's where you are dwelling now. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so to dwell means where you live or what is surrounding you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, the 12th verse says that "I, wisdom, dwell with prudence." Prudence is good judgment. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So, if let's say Naeem, he goes to the store and he wants a candy bar, right? So if he wants to buy, say he wants to buy one chocolate bar, let's say that the price of the chocolate bar is 59 cents. But Walmart has a sale. Well, Walmart says, well, if you buy 2 chocolate bars, we'll sell it to you for $1. Meaning, if you buy 2 chocolate bars, instead of paying $1.18, you get them both for $1 and save 18 cents. Well, Daeem, knowing that he likes chocolate bars, and he's more than likely going to eat that chocolate bar, and probably tomorrow going to want another one. He says, well, what I'll do, since I'm already here, I'll just go ahead and buy 2 chocolate bars at a cheaper price. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's called prudence. That's called good judgment. That's called smart. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Well, wisdom is good judgment, being smart about things. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you want to find wisdom, if you how can I put this? If you were ever on a search for wisdom, and if you was to say to yourself, well, man, okay, I want wisdom, where do I find it? Well, if you find a place, or if you are in an environment where good judgment is being exercised and people are being smart about things, then you are very near to the presence of wisdom in that place. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but getting back, wisdom, basically what this verse is saying in this part, wherever you find wisdom, you will find good judgment. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Because wisdom dwells or is surrounded by prudence or good judgment. Okay? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, it says, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions. Now, when it says to find out knowledge of witty inventions, that has a couple of meanings. That can kind of go both ways. Let me show you. Now, I am a physicist, meaning I went to school and I studied the science of physics. I went for 4 years. I got a Bachelor of Science in Physics and just about completed a Master's before I cut school. Matter of fact, I did complete all my coursework, and I never wrote a thesis. But you can basically say I have a Master's in Physics. Physics is a science of the study of the physical phenomena around you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I was in school, I started in mechanical engineering. That's where I started. Till one day I went to the Department of Physics, and I was talking to a black professor who was from Africa. And he told me, I'm sorry? Did you say something?
No, sir.
Okay. He told me, he says, because he was trying to convince me to go into physics instead of engineering. And this is what he told me. He said a engineer can build an airplane. He says an engineer can build a helicopter. He says a physicist will be able to tell you why it will not fly. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Because a physicist studies the nature of things. He kind of knows how the basic physical phenomena works. So a physicist has certain insight because he studies forces, he studies friction, he studies electromagnetism, he studies the essence of the physical universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So even though a physicist might not necessarily know how to build, let's say, a Ferrari race car or an F-15 jet, he may not know how to build it. But if for some reason the F-15 jet can't get off the ground, or the race car, it can't accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Well, a physicist will be able to tell you why the airplane can't get off the ground, or why this race car cannot accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. He'll be able to tell you why because he understands forces. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So a physicist is able to find out knowledge of witty or clever inventions. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's an example of a wise person. So what do I mean? Let me go into this before I continue. Let me give you an example. Okay, I am a physicist. So let's say that your dad or we're walking to a racetrack. You know, we got in the car and we're in New Orleans. We decided to pull over, go to a racetrack, and they got these really fast cars out there. Like, wow, you know, this car is really fast, and it goes from 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. But they can't figure out why it won't go from 0 to 60 in say 2.5 seconds. Well, immediately I can be able to tell you why a race car can't go. Now, I have no knowledge of how to manufacture the tires, the engine, the seat in the car, the body of the car, the aerodynamics that they study, but I can immediately tell you why it won't do certain things. And the answer is simple. Because of the torque. I can tell them, I can ask them what's the torque rating on the car. And they say, well, this car has a torque rating of, let's say, 2,000 foot-pounds of torque at 900 RPMs. So I can tell you, the reason why you can't accelerate any faster is because your torque is limited. You have to increase your torque. The point I'm making is this. The point I'm making is by being a physicist or a man that knows physics, he has certain insight into engineering. Even though he did not engineer the invention, even though he didn't engineer what you're doing, because he studied physics, because he has the wisdom of the forces of nature, he can find out, why inventions will and will not do certain things. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He's a man of a certain kind of wisdom. Okay, so when we go back to the 12th verse of the 8th chapter of the book of Proverbs, it says, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. Meaning, because a wise person has certain insight and understanding of things, he's able to explain certain things to you, although he had no hand in making them. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's called wisdom. Okay, so let's continue. The 13th verse says, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogance, and the evil way, and a froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Now, here in the 14th verse, it says, counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Well, what does it mean to give someone counsel? When you counsel someone, what are you doing to them? When you give someone counsel, what is happening when you counsel somebody?
Guide them.
Right. Counsel is guidance. Okay. So obviously, if you are a wise person, it's very easy for you to guide others, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And if you are able to guide others, then that must mean you must be a man of understanding. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And if you are able to guide others and give people understanding, that means you are a very strong person, because we know knowledge and wisdom is power. Is that right? So if you're able to guide and give understanding, that makes you a very powerful, strong person. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So when we read the 14th verse of the 8th chapter, it says, counsel is mine. If you are wisdom, if you are a wise person, or you are a person that possesses wisdom, you have counsel. Counsel is yours. Counsel is what you are. You are understanding. You don't look for understanding if you're a wise person. You are understanding. You are the one people see to get understanding of things. You are a person of strength. You don't look for those things. That's just what you are. If you are a wise person, you are a person of understanding. It just comes to you. All right. Now, the 15th verse says, by me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. A moment. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, than fine gold. My revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the path of judgment, that I might cause those that love me to inherit substance and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before the works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep. When he gave the sea his decree, that the water should not pass his commandment. When he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. Now, isn't that the same thing that I just said earlier before I read the scripture, that when God made the heavens and the earth, he just willed it, he just used his wisdom and brought it forth? Isn't this basically saying the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's saying the same thing. Before the mountains were made, before the hills were there, before the earth, before everything was, I was with God. You know, wisdom is the seat and power of God. And we're going to see that as we read. One of the Rafiq's birthday just passed. November 15th, I believe, is my son's birthday. Anyway, when I asked Rafiq what he wanted for his birthday, he said wisdom. All right, so here we are. One moment. Now, just a second. I lost my place. Okay. Now, in verse 8, it says, Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. Let's talk about this for a moment. When something delights you, when you are delighted, what does that mean?
Happy.
It makes you happy, is that right?
Yes,
sir.
Now, when you rejoice, when you say, "Oh man, Amaria is rejoicing," or "Mama is rejoicing," or "Daddy's rejoicing," when a person is rejoicing, what are they doing?
Celebrating.
Celebrating. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, it says in verse 30. It says, Then I was by him as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight. Well, in this verse, it's telling you that wisdom was the delight of Allah. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So when Allah was creating the heavens and the earth, and these things were being brought forth by his will and his wisdom, it made Allah rejoice. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So Allah's wisdom and Allah's power, but basically Allah's wisdom is Allah's delight and is Allah's rejoicing. That's where Allah finds. That's what causes Allah to rejoice. That's what causes Allah to be delightful. It's by the use and command of his wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Wisdom is power. Wisdom is the greatest thing you could ever possess. But let's keep going. One moment. In verse 31 it says, Rejoicing in that habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. That's right. Because after that first God, other gods arose. And they continued in that first God wisdom. As I told you, the first God stood upon his earth and created himself, stood upon his earth and called that sun into existence. And then 6 trillion years later, the sun appeared. And then other guys, other black men, your father stood on this planet and looked out into the heavens and looked in different directions and commanded that lights appeared. And the wisdom of that original God that he passed to his sons, they rejoiced in that same wisdom and kept creating the universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O you children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do, go back. Let me find this other verse here. And I'm going to teach you some more on wisdom.
Dad,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
What's your question, sweetheart?
Is wisdom knowledge?
Yes, it is. Wisdom is knowledge. Wisdom is understanding. Wisdom is good judgment. Wisdom is experience. Wisdom is all those things. But basically what wisdom really is the exercise of sound knowledge, judgment, and from your experience and know-how. It's like wisdom is like a great or excellent exercise. It's like the exercise of knowledge and experience. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So wisdom. There's a saying in the book: wisdom is justified of her children. Meaning, wisdom is manifested. Wisdom is made known by works. Because knowledge itself can sit in a book in the library. But when knowledge is taken by one moment. But when knowledge is taken and used, and you are able to extract the greatest benefit from the use of that knowledge, we say that person is wise. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, one moment. Just a second. Something I want to see. Okay, now let's go to chapter the very next chapter, and we go to verse 1. Is everybody at chapter 9, verse 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
Rafiq, read verse 1.
Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars.
Now, we see here in chapter 9, verse 1 of the book of Proverbs, it says, wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. Now, I've taught on this before, but since this is Sunday school, we're going to go into this a little. We're going to go into this again. Now, it said, wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. What is a pillar?
It provides support for a building.
Okay. A pillar provides support for a building. Who else got something to say?
They work together to.
No, I'm talking about a pillar. Just a pillar. A pillar is a support for a building. Anyone else have anything to say before we continue?
No, sir.
It helps the building not to fall. It keeps it balanced.
Okay, it helps the building not to fall, keeps it balanced. Okay, so we know that a pillar is is an integral part of something, or integral part of a building that keeps it balanced, keeps it from falling, and keeps it standing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, chapter 9 and verse 1 of the book of Proverbs says, wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. So the chapter 9 verse 1 is telling us that the house of wisdom has 7 pillars. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about this metaphor here. So wisdom metaphorically has a house, like the house you're in. And the book is telling us that the house of wisdom has 7 pillars under it. Like if you look under your trailer, if you ever go outside and look under there, you'll see supports or maybe bricks or sticks or whatever under the skirt of the trailer upholding the trailer that you're in. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, it says that wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out 7 pillars. So we know that the house of wisdom stands on 7 pillars, seven foundations, 7 supports. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But remember, I told you that when God created the heavens and the universe, He just willed it into existence. He just used His mind. He used wisdom to build the universe. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
When you find wisdom, where does wisdom live? Don't you find the wisdom in the minds of people or the minds of man? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So whenever you talk about wisdom, you're talking about a person. You can say that's a wise man or a wise woman or a wise boy or girl. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we know that when we're talking about wisdom, we know that wisdom lives in people. Now, it says wisdom hath built her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. Okay, well, where does wisdom live inside of the human body? Where inside of the human body do you find wisdom?
Brain.
In the brain, in your mind. That's right. So let's talk about the brain of man, the mind of man. Now, the mind, your brain basically has 7 levels of consciousness. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you start researching and looking up brain waves and consciousness, you're basically, when you start, depending on what book you read or website you visit, you're basically going to get 7 different levels. And depending on the source that you are investigating the 7 levels of the mind, you're going to get basically 7 different levels of the mind. So, one moment. Hold on a second. I gotta clear my sinuses. 1 second here. Hold on 1 second. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Now. Okay. So the mind of man, your brain has 7 levels of consciousness. What I mean, your brain basically has 7 levels by which it vibrates. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna keep it basic because you're rather young and you got different levels of education. So your dad can't go into too much scientific. I got to keep it very basic so you can understand me. Because I am not interested in showing off in front of my children. I am interested in making sure that you learn something. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So your brain or your mind has 7 different levels. And basically, the 7 different levels of your brain is the first level is epsilon, the second level is delta, the third level of consciousness or the frequency level of your brain is called theta. The fourth level of your brain is called alpha. The fifth level of your brain is called beta. The sixth level of your brain wave activity is called gamma. And the seventh level of your brain wave activity is called lambda. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And basically, at the epsilon level and the delta level, that's basically when you are that's basically going into your levels of sleep. Basically, the first 3 levels of your brain is epsilon, delta, and theta. And basically, those are the 3 levels of consciousness or 3 levels of brain frequency when you are asleep in your bed. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The fourth level of brain activity is called alpha. That's when you first wake up. So that's when you first wake up in the morning and you open your eyes. The frequency level of your brain is called alpha. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so alpha is like when you first wake up. Beta is when you're doing things. Gamma is when you really meditate and thinking about things. And lambda is the highest level of brain activity. That's when you are kind of doing spiritual things like, seeing the future, reading people's minds, coming into a higher understanding of the Word of God. That's the lambda level. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
But basically, what I am trying to convey to you is that your brain has 7 levels of frequency, 7 levels of consciousness. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, remember, we just read in the 9th chapter of the book of Proverbs that wisdom said that wisdom, let's go back to it. Let's see here. In the 9th chapter, in the 1st verse, it said, wisdom has builded her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so what does that mean? That means that when Allah first created himself, that means when the black man first created himself, he had to establish wisdom in all levels of his thinking. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the levels of the mind of God, the 7 pillars or the 7 levels of consciousness, he first established wisdom on every level. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So God became wise and on as far as the brain of the original God, as far as the physical brain of the first Allah, his mind, his brain, the 7 foundations of his mind he crowned himself with wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When he created himself and was walking on this earth, he crowned himself with wisdom. And after he crowned himself with wisdom, or during the process when he was crowning himself with wisdom, he was using that wisdom to create himself and to create his universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Until he was standing on his earth and looked out and commanded by the will of his brain, by the will of his 7 levels of wisdom, he looked out and commanded that the sun appear. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And 6 trillion years later, that sun came out of nowhere and came forth by the will of Allah and appeared. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so your brain has 7 levels of consciousness. Now, what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad told us in his lecture series, Theology of Time, he told us that one day that we are going to do the same thing the original God, 76 trillion years did.
He said we're going to be able to just speak the word or just desire or will it, and whatever we desire or will is going to happen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is taking place today? What is taking place today is that the black man is returning to his own, that his wisdom is coming back to him. He is gaining power. He is gaining control of himself. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So what am I telling you? When the black man, to gain mastery of yourself, to gain mastery, complete and total, utter mastery of your 7 levels of your brain, your 7 pillars of your brain, to master yourself is to become the master of the entire universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Because what you have inside of your physical head, your brain and the universe basically are one and the same. Your brain, once it's fully activated, once you're fully crowned with wisdom, you become in control of the entire universe, meaning you will be able to command and will what you want done inside of your universe, and it will happen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I will give you another example. Is there any end to outer space? Is there any end to it?
No, sir.
Any what?
Is there any end to what we call outer space?
No, sir.
Okay, so no matter how much you can't put enough in it to fill it up. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, think about your brain. How much knowledge can you put inside of your head right now before it's full? Can you ever fill up your brain with knowledge and wisdom until you can't take no more? Is that possible?
No, sir.
Wait, is it?
You can. I'm sorry?
Is it? Because I had looked it up, and they said something different.
What do you mean?
Well, I had looked up if it's possible for your brain to fill up with knowledge.
I'm listening.
I mean, it said that the brain is capable of storing up to 200 years worth of nonstop information.
Well,
but that's just what it said.
but okay, that's someone's theory. But let's talk about that theory, because this white man don't know nothing. Now, in your Bible, you got men like how long did Methuselah live?
Who?
Methuselah. I will just tell you, Methuselah was a righteous man in the Bible that lived for 900. He almost lived 1,000 years, 960 some years. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You got men in the Bible like Noah that lived for over 500 years. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So and those are the men that we know about. So we got black men in the eons of history that's lived over 1,000 years. You mean to tell me they stopped learning when they were 200 years old? No.
Yes, sir.
They can't. Your mind is infinite. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As long as you live, you can always keep learning, and your mind will never fill up. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Your brain, your mind, is the twin of your universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's why if you want to become the most powerful man in the world or the most powerful people in the world, all you have to do is not go out and get a tank, a helicopter, or a nuclear bomb and destroy people. The only thing you have to do is conquer yourself. Utterly control and elevate your mind with wisdom on all 7 levels. If you can elevate your mind and become close to God in wisdom, and what I mean by that is understand yourself. and truly know that understanding yourself is to understand the universe outside of yourself. And when you start to walk around and realize that you're looking at yourself, when you look at the sun, moon, and stars, when you look at the universe, you're just looking at an extension of yourself. You are and will become the most powerful man or most powerful people on the planet. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And this is what the white man does not want. He does not want you to learn yourself. That's why he destroyed your history. He don't want you to wake up and find out who you really are. I'll give you one example before I close. Matter of fact, you already kind of know the answer to this, but I'm just going to just say it. Remember, Rafiq, remember Daeem, remember Kamal, remember Amaria, remember this. When you go to bed at night and you go to sleep, and let's say that you have a dream. Let's say that you are dreaming that you are inside the car with your mother and you're on your way to Walmart. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When you are inside of that dream and you're inside of that car in the dream, the car, the road, the sky, the Walmart you're looking at, everything inside the dream is something that your mind is creating. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The car that you're getting into yourself. You control the car, the road, the ground that you're walking on inside your dream. When you are dreaming, you are inside of your own mind. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's why you can't die. That's why you can't die in your dream, because even when you're dreaming and you don't know you're dreaming, you can't, because it's you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
There's nobody, I promise you, there is nobody inside of your dream. There will never come a time when you're dreaming that you're going to get killed. Why? Because you are inside of your own brain. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and guess what happens when you're dreaming? It's called lucid dream. When you find out, you say, wait a minute, I'm dreaming. Actually, right now, I'm in my bedroom asleep, but I'm dreaming. And what happens when you wake up inside of your dream? What can you do at that point?
Anything?
Anything you want to do.
You can control anything and everything around you inside that dream. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Because you woke up and found out, hey, everything I'm looking at, I'm creating inside of my own mind. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Listen to me. Right now, everything around you are inside of the mind of God right now. That couch you're sleeping on, that window you're looking at, the sun in the sky, the stars, the moon, the wind blowing, the laptop on the table, the books. All of that is the mind of Allah. He created that with his mind. That Allah, that original Allah that made everything around you is not here. But you are his children. You have the same genetic code inside of you. So when you wake up and you become fully aware that, wait a minute, everything in the universe not only belongs to me, I really control everything in the universe. Then you will say the same thing that's written in the Bible. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. So the point I'm making is this: when you seek wisdom, the supreme wisdom of Allah, the supreme wisdom of Master Fard Muhammad, and you practice righteousness, and you eat what you're supposed to eat. You know, you don't eat pork. You start fasting, and you start coming into your own wisdom. You will command this entire universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is not something that your daddy is making up. We're actually reading it. You have read in the book of Genesis, and you're reading in the 8th and 9th chapters of the book of Proverbs how God created the universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Well, you are his children. Okay, I'll give you another example. Do you remember when I came down there, you got inside of my truck?
Yes, sir.
Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did any of you know how to drive an 18-wheeler?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Now, whose children are you? Who's your daddy? Okay, but so what happens? So when I die, and you're my children, who does the 18-wheeler belong to?
Us.
Okay, now the 18-wheeler is yours, but you don't know how to drive it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
But you know it's yours. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you know that, wait a minute, if my daddy could drive something like that, I know I can learn to do the same thing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Listen to me, children. The 18-wheeler is planet Earth. The 18-wheeler is the sun. The 18-wheeler is the stars and the other planets. The entire universe is your inheritance. And all you have to do is learn who you are, and you will be able to do the same thing with this universe that your original father, your great beyond father did. Able to do the same thing he did. You just have to learn. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have to gain wisdom. Just is no different than, wow, my daddy knows how to drive an 18-wheeler truck and I don't. Only thing you have to do is learn. And you'll be able to do the same thing your daddy did, or your daddy does now. Same thing is with the universe. You'll be able to do the same thing that our fathers did. You'll be able to look out there and command a star here. You'll be able to will and control the universe. If you build your mind, if you are able to hew out the 7 pillars of wisdom, if you can crown yourself with wisdom in your deepest sleep, and crown yourself with wisdom in your most alert state of mind, you can control the universe. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Happy birthday, Rafiq. That's your birthday present. And I don't mean that it's only Rafiq's birthday present. What I am saying is Rafiq said he wanted wisdom, so you all get wisdom today. But, Rafiq said for his birthday he wanted wisdom. Well, I'm just telling him happy birthday. And, Rafiq's eating cake, wisdom, and you all eating his birthday cake. Do you understand? Everybody's getting cake. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I love you all. I'm not saying, I'm a parent. I gotta be careful because I can't have any of my children thinking that daddy don't love me or daddy love this one more than me. That's not the case. When I say happy birthday, Rafiq said he wanted wisdom, so I'm giving you all wisdom today. But since Rafiq made the request, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Is there anyone with any questions?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Are you going to start uploading these Sunday school meetings again?
Yeah, I need to. Son, I'm going to do that. As a matter of fact, please allow me to do something today. I'm going to get them all done up today because I know you want to go back. And actually, that's the only way you really can learn. You have to learn through constant repetition. You got to hear it again and again and again until, you really get it. So you have my word. I'm gonna upload this one and the other one so you can study them. So I'm sure you want to get. I know you want to get this one today. So I'm gonna get this one up, and I'm gonna try to get them all done this week. And you have my word on that.
All right. Thank you.
One of the issues, the reason I kind of stopped, my laptop broke. I bought another one, and so I gotta, get the software to this laptop. So that's kind of why I stopped doing it. Not because I didn't want to. Well, I spilled a drink on my laptop and my laptop broke. You understand? That's why I haven't been uploading any videos. You understand?
Yes, sir.
But I got another laptop, and I intend to do that. And let that be a warning to Daim and Rafiq and anyone else that has a computer or gets one. Do not drink anywhere near your laptop. Because if you spill a drink on that keyboard, your laptop is done. Because you won't be able to type right. It'll start doing crazy things. So when you're at your laptop, keep drinks far away from it so you won't make the same mistake I did. Are there any more questions?
Yes, sir.
What's your question, sweetheart?
Why did Michael Jackson bleach himself white?
What?
Why did Michael Jackson bleach himself white?
Oh, why did Michael Jackson bleach himself white?
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, Michael Jackson, actually, all of his brothers and sisters, he went to the most extreme. They all, they cut their nose to make their nose sharper. They cut their lips, and Michael Jackson bleached himself. I believe the reason is because what Michael Jackson, as talented and as great as he was, he did not love his black self. Because like Michael Jackson, a lot of our people, including myself, at one time, I wanted to be a white person. Because when I grew up, when I looked on television, I would see television shows with white families, and white people were happy, and white people had everything. And I was poor, and I was black. And so subliminally watching television and growing up in this country, seeing that being white and being a white child, you were happy and you had everything. So Michael Jackson suffered from that. He never woke up to his beautiful black self. He wanted to be white because he worshiped white people. Santa, they give us a white Santa Claus. When you see the picture of Jesus, you see a white Jesus. When they show you an angel or somebody from heaven, they show you a white angel. There's always something white. White is good. So we associate divinity, God, with being white. So this is a trick, that the white man played on us. So Michael Jackson and many of our forefathers, in this country wanted to be white, and we suffered from that complex, that mental complex of thinking that black was inferior to white. But today, we're coming out of that. You can actually see it in sports. You can actually see it in anything that black people get involved in, music. Black people are dominant in everything we do. Black people are superior in everything we do. But during the time when Michael Jackson grew up, and even people of my generation, we, in our mind, we didn't know it, but we worshiped white people. We wanted to be white, because they had everything. That's what we seen on television. He's the devil. He tricked us. There's a scripture on it. I don't have time to go into it today. Maybe now, if you remind me, I'll teach you on it next week. But that's what the devil would do. The devil said he would become gods in our minds. That's a prophecy. I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
So the reason why Michael Jackson bleached his skin is because he didn't know who he was. He didn't know that God is really black, and that that he's a beautiful black person, and he just didn't love himself. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Are there any more questions?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed Sunday school as I have, and if it pleases Allah, I will get this lecture uploaded so you can listen to it again and again with the others. And if I don't do it, your daddy getting up there in age, you tell your daddy, hey, daddy, you said you was going to do such and such. Your daddy don't mind being reminded. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. I love you all, and, don't be a stranger to your pop. Give me a call sometime. All right?
All right.
All right. If there are no more questions, I greet you as I came in the name of Master Farad Muhammad, who was born in 1877 and who is alive and is Allah in person, I greet you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.